are here at Art and Soul
Framing and Gallery.
Oh!
I was gonna say Jinx, but then you'd say under a roof, and then it just wouldn't work.
Well,
but anyhow,
I'll take the diet soda. So.
Anyhow, are you guys ready to get our frame on?
I am.
Yes.
We're so excited.
You show them.
Can I show you guys?
Yes.
So we're.
Can I show you guys? They would never say no to us.
The little. They can't say no. The little plaque. So this is what we're gonna be framing today.
Sahar
So
made
fun.
that.
I did
She
make
made
it.
that.
She made
All
that.
her.
All her.
She grew the tree. Cut down the tree.
I sanded it.
Sanded it.
I actually could sand. I can cut and do
You were
all
in
those
shop
things.
class.
I was in shop class.
Hit her up for all your shop class needs.
Yep.
Or art needs. She's more into art.
I
but
am.
literally, iconic.
Yeah.
Iconic.
Can't wait to see it in a frame.
Yeah. Are you ready? Are you ready? Let's go.
Yep. Oh.
Hey, here we are at Art and Soul, and we're speaking with the owner and operator, Lauren. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Awesome. I'm good, thank you. And so we'll just start with you telling us a bit about yourself.
Sure. I own Art and Soul Framing. I'm the day-to-day operator of the shop. I discovered framing and fell in love with it. When I was around 15 or 16 years old, I started working in a small shop in St. Paul, which is where I'm originally from. And yeah, they kind of just took me under their wing there, and I just felt drawn to this kind of work. Later on, about a year after working there, I moved to Lloydminster with my then boyfriend, now husband, and I really wanted to stay in this kind of line of work. And so I applied at different places in town, and this was one of them, and that was in 2010, and got a job here part-time. And yeah.
One thing led to another, and
Yeah.
now you're here.
Yeah.
So fun. So was it initially working in St. Paul that got you into like artwork and framing?
No, it wasn't. I've always really loved art. So being drawn to anything that was to do with photography or things like that, it just pulled me in. But when I initially worked there, it was a photo lab position only. And we we just ended up connecting in a way that the owner's son asked me to come into the basement, and they had their whole shop down there. So he introduced me to framing at that point, and that is what got me into it.
Gotcha. So photography initially, what is it that you enjoy about photography and artwork in that way?
I just like seeing people's perspectives on things. I'm not much of a photographer myself, but I enjoy appreciating art and the different art forms.
Do you have a favorite medium of art?
I like to use graphite or pencil the most. That is definitely my favorite.
So you draw?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, cool. Have you always drawn?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
From like a very young age, or?
Definitely. Well, I've always been very creative, and my parents definitely really nurtured that side of me. I would just find things around the house like tape or fabrics and dress up my Barbies with them, things like that, and design, sketch out fashion for them. And yeah, they just would, whatever I had an idea for, they would just say, oh, sure, you can use that or whatever.
Oh, that's so nice that they were like nurturing to that
Mhm.
idea.
Yeah.
And that's also amazing for you. I have zero talent when it comes to like drawing or anything like that. So mad respect for artists in that regard.
Mm-hmm.
And then getting into framing, that's very different, I'm guessing, from drawing.
Yes and no.
Yes and no. Ooh.
In, I guess, the literal sense, yes. But I'm still designing and creating, so, and problem solving. Somebody will bring me something and be like, I don't know, can you even frame this? What can you do to make it look, tell the story or look the way I want it to? And so it's just another creative form or creative element that can be drawn from my passion already.
Gotcha. So for folks who maybe don't understand or don't know, what is like framing? Like, I know that might sound silly, but
No, a lot of people aren't familiar with custom framing. Like they see picture frames in the store. You can buy, your standard sizes. But framing something is really actually a way of telling that story. So you're able to come in and bring me an item or a photo or memorabilia from something that means a lot to you, and then we can create an arrangement or design that really speaks about that person and what they want it to represent in their space or to the person they're giving it to.
Aw. So it's very individual. I don't know if the right word is. I wanted to say individualistic, but yeah, personalized. Yeah. Do you remember the first thing that you framed?
Oh, I actually brought it with me today.
Did you really?
I did, and it's a piece of my own artwork.
So from your framing journey, beginning with your own artwork and then venturing into framing things for other people, how has your art style and that process for you changed?
I wouldn't say that my art style has changed. I prefer working off of a photo or something that I can have reference to, but having people come in here with different mediums and styles of art that they've either acquired or they have done themselves has really opened my eyes to the other things that are out there, because it's what people create is really interesting. I had somebody in the other day, he didn't bring in his artwork, but he does egg tempura, which is where you mix the pigments with like egg yolk, I think he said, or maybe the egg white. It could be the white, but very interesting, and it gives a really like regal appear to the artwork that he's done.
And so it's like paint that he makes?
Yeah, he makes it out of eggs, fresh eggs, yeah.
Interesting.
I know.
That's so cool.
I never would have thought. And I have another lady local that she does painting, and she's used different teas.
I've heard that because I know tea stains, so I feel like I could see the correlation there. That's
coffees,
really cool.
right?
Yeah.
But hers she was playing with tea just to be different.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
That must be so fun having people come in and then you're like, wow, I never would have thought of that.
Exactly. Yeah.
Is there something that, aside from those two examples, I guess, an object or something that someone has brought in that's been a very memorable frame?
Oh, it's really hard to pick just one. Typically, when somebody brings in a piece of art, that process is really personal. Like when somebody comes in here, I want them to feel comfortable and calm and like they are at home. So when I'm talking to them about their art, and sometimes it's a poster and it's like, yeah, I just really love X, Y, or Z. But sometimes it's, this is my dad's belt or something like that, right? So when I talk to them about it, it gets really personal and it becomes something really special to me as well. So when I have projects like that, those are my favorite, but I can't pick just one because I'm just connected to all of them.
I think that's cute though, because it's you becoming a part of a story that already existed.
Yeah.
And then it's so sweet.
Honoring.
Yeah. I definitely can see that desire though to create a safe space that feels at home. We walked in and Rochelle had commented, she was like, it smells so good in here.
Oh, well, there you
and
go.
like it's so calm and peaceful. So I think you do a really great job of creating that atmosphere that allows individuals to feel at peace. Because at least for me, like I feel really relaxed right now.
Yeah.
So
Good.
So we've talked a bit about what folks can expect, like when coming in, because they bring their object, obviously, or artwork or picture, whatever, and then they share their story with you. Yeah. And then from there, what happens?
So we pick everything out. Generally, we do the not as fun part. We price it out, give them the total. They can choose if they want to go ahead or not. And if they do, then we do a 50% deposit. We also do layaways because custom framing can be quite an investment. So if somebody wanted to do something really special but just wasn't in the budget at that moment, then we would just do payments until we reach 50%, and then we can start with the work. And then once it's ready, they can pay the balance, or again, same thing until it's ready to go.
And for the framing, what kind of frames do you offer? Like, is there a wide variety, things like that?
Yeah, a very wide variety. The last estimated count was around 2,800 frames.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, and that is just a drop in the bucket as far as what's out there. There's a lot of different styles, and when my suppliers come in, it is very difficult to pick which ones I'm going to have on the wall because they are all very pretty, but I don't have room for everything. So we tend to try to support vendors that are Canadian as much as possible.
Love to hear it.
And most of them do source from within Canada, but they are all over the world. The frames that we're going to be working with today, that one is actually from Italy.
Ooh,
yeah. So
I was going to say a fancy Italian word, but I don't know any, so never mind. I shouldn't have said
Me neither.
anything.
It's okay.
Perfecto. Something
Yeah, there
like
you
that.
go.
I don't know. Sorry? I said ciao. Oh.
Yeah, there you go.
Do you have a favorite frame? Or to you,
Oh.
like, for the frames, what are, because I know they're all so different, but do you, I guess, gravitate towards a certain vibe of frame or certain texture? Because even just looking around, like, things I never actually thought about, but there's so many different textures and colors and looks to frames.
Right. Not necessarily. I think it's more about what vibe the artwork is giving off or the person. Some will be, more vintage and they call for something antique. Some are more rustic and need something with a little bit of edge. It just depends.
And so then for folks who are coming in, they don't necessarily have to know, I'm assuming, what it is they're looking for. They're able to, I guess, get some guidance from the expert.
I think that's the biggest part about our initial talk when somebody comes in, is I generally will ask them, like, do you have a vision? Because if they do, absolutely, I can work with that and we'll find something that looks good for the art and works for what they want, what the purpose is. And if they don't, then generally I can just ask questions until they kind of figure out what they want and show them options. And usually people either go, oh yeah, I love that, or no. And then it's easy. Yeah.
Yeah. No real in between. Usually people are pretty decisive.
Generally. Sometimes we get down to like 3 or 4 different samples and they're like, well, maybe we just price them out. And that helps decide sometimes.
I think it gets hard when you narrow down your options because having a lot, sometimes it's easier to get like a select few, but then from those select few, it might be, I mean, for myself, I'm the worst at making decisions. So I would be a struggle and a half. So I'm so grateful that you have kind of mapped everything out for us, because we would be here for days if I were to have to do all of that.
But that's what I'm here for. So.
Yes, exactly. Thank you. In regards to all the work that you do, because not only are you dealing with, the public and the folks that come in here, but also in the back, working with like actual tools and like working on the artwork and framing, what would you say is the most challenging aspect of everything that you do?
The most challenging is probably having such an emotional connection to the pieces that I work with that sometimes it will really take a toll on my own ability to continue that creative mode. Like it results in like a creative burnout almost, because you're exuding that all the time, right? So I think that's probably the hardest thing, which is why it's so important to take time to do the things that make you happy and fill your cup and things like that.
What was it like from going with framing as more of a hobby to now where it's something you're immersed in all the time because you have to be, not just because you want to be?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I love it, actually, because it doesn't feel like something I have to do. It is something that I love to do. And I think part of that is that I'm able to, and I know I said it's part of the hardest part of the job, but I'm able to connect and talk with people and have that emotional aspect to creating a piece of artwork for them in the end. That is, I think, what brings me the most joy about my job too.
So it's the same for both kind of thing.
Kinda.
That's awesome. And you initially worked here part-time and now own it.
Mm-hmm.
What was that like? What happened there?
That was scary, but
In a good way.
in a very good way. I think like when my husband and I decided to buy it, it was 2018. So right before, things started changing.
COVID.
I know the
Sorry.
word.
Yes, yeah. Things started changing. I like yours better. Yeah.
That's all good. And so not only were we jumping into it now, like I was managing it before for 4 years, so I had a really good handle. I was basically doing what I am now, but it wasn't mine to, make all the decisions. So having it switch from not being my full responsibility to being my full responsibility was both rewarding and scary, because it's a huge passion of mine. So seeing it succeed is really valuable to me. So I suppose that's probably the biggest thing.
What was it like for you kind of diving in head first? Because had you had experience in the past owning a business and doing this sort of thing, or was it kind of all of a sudden, all at once?
It was, no, I have not had any experience. In 2018, when we purchased the business, I was 25 and I had already worked here for 8 years. So I was like 17, 18 when I started working here. So it really has been almost my entire working career is experience here. So going into the management position and then taking on running the business has been basically by the seat of my pants, and just really looking outwards to other peers and business owners and the community supports that we have to help me navigate that.
And I guess it helps too, having such a passion for the work that you're doing and the stories that you're helping tell and create. Do you have one frame in particular maybe that you're most proud of?
Again, it's something that I don't think I can choose because they all tell a different story. So when I'm working with somebody on things like that, they're all my favorite in a different way.
Yeah, fair. For folks who do want to come in and get framing done, how long in advance should they anticipate like bringing something in? Like how long does the framing process take?
It really can vary. Generally, it's a 3-week turnaround, but if there's supply delays or it's a really busy season, it can take longer. So the more planning ahead that somebody does for a project that they want that's really special to them for a specific date, the better. If there is, an unforeseen event, or you just forgot about someone's birthday, then we can definitely try our best to accommodate with things that I carry in stock. But if you really want to hone in on something that's really special, then I would advise definitely making time.
Plan ahead.
Yes.
That's always the best thing that you can do. Do you have a favorite object or thing to frame?
Probably, I would have to say my favorite thing to frame is challenging pieces in general. So I know it's not a specific thing, but I like something that makes me have to problem solve and get creative on how to display it. That being said, I also really appreciate simpler projects to have in between to give myself that mental break.
Yes, that's fair. Do you have one that's been most challenging, like an item that you've gotten that's been the most challenging to frame?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Well, 2 actually. The first was a wedding dress.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And it
That'd be a big one.
It was, because she wanted the full gown showing.
So cool.
Yeah. And then the way that we did it was an acrylic box out the front so that you could really see most of the bodice. And I did a filler inside, so it was like shaped like she was wearing it. Yeah, that was a fun one, but time consuming and a lot of problem solving.
Oh, yeah.
And the other that was really challenging was a George Strait guitar with 4 bottles of tequila and shot glasses.
Oh my goodness. They just need a room. Just put it in a room.
I think I think he has a room full of things like that.
Ah, gotcha.
Yeah. Mhm.
That would be a lot in one spot, I feel like in one framed.
It was a pretty big frame
Yeah.
as well. It was about 40 inches tall, almost 4 feet tall.
Oh, thank you. I was
You're
like, I'm like, yeah, 40 inches. I was gonna pretend I knew what you meant.
And yeah, and same thing, because I mean the tequila bottles weren't small because they're part of his brand.
Yeah, I was like,
So
how
they're
could they
like
be?
about that big in diameter,
Yeah.
and so yeah, that was another interesting build.
How do you go about the problem solving portion, I guess? Is it something where trial and error, thinking a lot of things
Kind of.
through, writing things down?
I usually have somewhat of a plan initially the day that they bring it in, and then because I like to know that I can actually take that on before I take it on, but then it's just a matter of sort of picturing it in my head how I want things to go together, how they'll function, if they can or cannot support the item that's going to be holding it, or whatever, things like that. And so it is a lot of trial and error things. Yeah, and I always am very careful not to try something that I cannot reverse. That is extremely important.
Oh yeah, especially I think when you're dealing with very personal items and one of a kind things, like maybe that guitar or the tequila bottles, I don't know, but that would be, or the wedding dress is a perfect example.
Yeah.
Wow. When you first started framing, did you ever imagine yourself framing something like a wedding dress or that guitar?
Oh, no. No.
When you would be like, no, I couldn't do that.
No, I probably would still be like, yeah, I'll try.
Nice.
But there's so many things that come through here, and people place them down, and I'm like, oh, well, that's a new challenge to try, right? And so.
But that's good. All those challenges, I'm assuming, come with the problem solving and the learning, and just feed into that passion of telling harder stories in that regard.
Yeah.
Kind of, sort of. Yeah.
Yeah. They're exciting stories, I think.
Yeah.
Especially like even the guitar. That one was from a concert that him and his wife had gone to.
Aww.
Right? And so it was part of, he really loves that artist. And then the other part is that he had a really special memory that was attached to it. So just everything kind of folding in together.
And all those emotions encapsulated in that frame. Oh, that's so sweet. If you could take art and soul anywhere in the world, where would you want to go?
I do not think that I could take it anywhere other than here, because I could not imagine being anywhere but where I've made all of these connections with my clients and customers. And I just love where I live.
Aww. Then where do you hope to see art and soul in, let's say, 5 years?
That I would love to have a bigger space, because we have so many artists in Lloydminster that deserve a space to be able to showcase their art, and I do not have enough room for that. I would also love to be able to expand the tools that I have here so I can do more creative things, especially when I come up with an idea or I think something would look really cool. It would be nice to have a tool that might make it simpler for me to achieve that.
Absolutely. And then last question, it doesn't have to be specific to framing or art, but what would you say is the best piece of advice you've received throughout your life?
I would say that it would be really to not self-reject. So don't tell yourself or talk yourself out of something before you even try. I think that's probably the biggest one.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So when I was talking to you guys about framing an object or a picture, you guys ended up choosing an object, and I had a look at your logo and chose a few colors that were coordinating with it.
Okay.
So when we are designing this project, I think what would look best is having one or all of these colors in behind. So they'll all be there, and then this will sit on top. Would you like to use one color in particular, or would you like to do a striped theme?
I think we should do all.
I think it would look really cool. I was
think so,
hoping
too.
you'd say so. Okay. So what I will do is I'm going to go and cut these into strips.
Okay.
And then we'll attach them after.
Perfect.
Okay.
Amazing.
So here's all of our strips to play with. So now we just have to decide what order we want to put them in.
Hey. This is where my creative genius comes in.
Perfect. Did you want to do it?
What would you pick?
I would just keep playing with it
Yeah?
until I go, yeah, that's the one.
Okay. I only have the blue left, so we'll do the blue there. Maybe I'll do the pink here,
I like that.
and then yellow, end it with a
Yeah.
green. What do we think, guys?
I like that.
Perfect. We
Look
got
at
there.
Exactly. Okay. So I think for simplicity's sake, normally what I do is I end up flipping them over and taping them all together. But just so that it's easy peasy for us, we'll just use some two-sided tape
Oh, I love that.
and
Okay.
then stick it down with a little bit of glue and good to go.
Perfect. Okay.
So I'll show you how this works. Okay, so you just squeeze the trigger down and you pull along. If you go overshoot it a little bit, that's okay.
Okay.
Give the bottle a couple of shakes till you have a little bit of glue out. You don't need a lot. Okay. And just drag it down. And then you just flip it over. And then push it into place. And then continue on with your
You
color.
made that look so easy. Thank you.
That's okay. I'm gonna do this because you're gonna not be happy.
Yeah, I'm so sorry.
No, don't be sorry. There. Now
This is why I
go
don't
for
art
it.
sorry.
You don't want to put it on?
Yeah, you gotta put it on.
Like, what are you doing?
Getting nervous.
Bridget, you did
I
such a
messed
good
it
job.
up.
Don't worry.
Art
Look
is
how
supposed to
beautiful
be
that is.
messy. So
Oh, I like that.
look at that.
Oh, and I did it too far. You know what? I'm just
No.
gonna go.
No, it's fine.
That's perfect. It's better to be over than not enough.
That's very true.
Look at you.
We're done, guys.
Done. That's it.
Are you ready for more taping and gluing?
I am. I love
Okay.
taping and gluing. I'm such a big art and crafts fan, so
Perfect.
up my alley.
So we'll let this dry for a couple of minutes and then we will build the walls for the frame. So I'm going to let you see what the frame looks like. So I just did a rustic wood frame because I thought from the picture that it would look really good with the clay that you
I
did.
love that.
And Alberta, rustic prairies,
Yeah.
right?
So pretty.
So what we need to do now is build walls so that the glass doesn't just fall.
Oh,
So I have these cut
Okay.
for us, and all you have to do is you measure. Sorry, we'll do it this way. You're supposed to do the top first so that there's walls for it to sit on. So in
Okay.
case something ever does let go over time, they have support. So you basically do a measure, do a little cut, and then tape, a little bit of glue, and then fit it in.
oh, perfect. Okay.
Just like so. Cool. Look at that. Professional.
Thank you. I'll move here. You can hire me.
Perfect. Okay, so normally what I would do is just take a straight edge and an X-Acto knife and cut it.
Okay.
So are you comfortable with those kind of tools, or do you just want me to cut it?
Maybe I'll try.
Okay, I'm just going to bring a cutting mat forward and then the knife. And yeah, don't.
For that.
We have. What are you talking about?
So I think what we'll do is we will load up glue on the back and
Okay.
then we'll just let it sit for a little while.
Mhm.
So if you want to put a bunch of glue back there,
Mhm.
try to keep it like within those
Okay,
parameters
yeah.
so that if it squashes, it's not coming out the sides.
Ooh.
And this is where it's cupping the most anyway. So if
Okay.
there's lots, it's not a big deal. Okay, now you can do the honors. Flip it over onto it. Give it a little look over just to see if there's dust, but you should be good.
Oh, that fits snug in there.
And then we put the points in. There, now you're ready for your...
Make sure you flip it up the right way. Okay,
Yeah.
ready, guys?
Yeah.
That looks so good. Like this?
Okay, there's a couple more steps to do before it's ready to hang.
Okay.
So this,
Mm-hmm.
if you have like a nice hard line there,
Yeah.
then you just sort of apply a little bit of pressure, keep your finger along the edge of the frame,
Mm-hmm.
and you just pull down. And then we're keeping a nice clean edge there.
I'll try that.
So I usually start with bumpers, so these just peel off,
Mm-hmm.
and then you stick them on the bottom corner of your frame.
Oh, perfect. Oh, these are fun.
They look like bubble wrap kind of.
Yeah.
It's like what is it? The things on like the bottom of chairs, kind of.
Oh yeah. Oh, the furniture stuff.
Yeah.
This is fine. This is mine. My permission. Yeah. Okay. And then this just goes on the bottom of your frame. And then we're on to wire. So we do triangles. And we need a couple of screws. And then we just measure down from the top. We want to do about 1/3 of the frame. So this one's 13.5. So if you do 12, so if we did 4, pretty close to where I put them.
Yeah.
If we measure 4.5 to the top of that.
Mm-hmm.
So when you hang it up on the wall, if it's higher or lower, you'll find that your picture will hang differently. It's the tilt that happens off the wall.
Oh.
Yeah. So the 1/3 is the happy spot for that.
Oh.
So then you end up just twisting around about 3 or 4 times
Mm-hmm.
so that it's nice and neat and tiny.
Okay.
That looks really good.
Thank you. Learn from the best.
Yeah. Oh,
Should I do it
thank
one
you.
more?
No, you're okay.
Okay.
And flip. Yep, there you go. And that way it's nice and tight and you don't have a pokey sticking out.
Perfect.
Nice. And then the last finishing touch is your hanger. And
Oh.
so I'm giving you a 30-pound hook.
Okay.
So that's way more than enough than you will ever need for this. And so I just flip it over and staple it into place. I'll let you do the
Oh.
very last thing.
Thank you.
Well, that makes sense. I was like, why don't we put it on? Because we don't have a wall here.
I was gonna say that. I was like, where is that gonna go?
That would make sense, wouldn't it?
There you go.
Yay!
Now your final reveal. Ta-da!
Just lower it a little bit. Ta-da!
It's perfect.
That way.
So this is the piece that I was talking about was the first one that I framed. And it is one of my art pieces. I drew this of my daughter. She was at a rodeo and she had won the blow up pony, which she was so excited about. And so, and I picked red because it was my favorite color. But now, knowing what I know, I prefer to pick things that are more about the artwork itself rather than maybe a color that I just really like. Okay, so if you wanted to try, what would you like to try cutting? Glass, matting?
We'll just do this. The
Yeah?
matting. Yeah.
Okay.
I think glass is too adventurous for me right now.
Fair enough. It's not as scary as you think, I
Yeah.
promise. But so basically, this is your measuring tape, so you can see what you want to cut your board at.
Okay.
So we can just do 1 inch off or so.
Well, let's do 1 inch then.
Sure.
Okay.
We'll just eyeball it somewhere around there. And then this here is spring loaded, so it'll go up fast. So if you hold on to it while you're putting it down, yep. And then you squeeze the smaller trigger.
Okay, like this one?
Yeah, that one. You squeeze that, bring it up.
Bring it up.
Yep.
Oh.
And then you pull down and you have your cut.
Oh.
Easy peasy.
Easier.
Yeah.
And then
A pro. Do you guys want to see how glass is cut?
Yeah.
So we don't use the clamp for glass because it will break. And then you just do the same thing. And then once you kind of feel it there, you lift it up a little bit. We're applying a little bit of pressure. And then push gently. And then smack it. And your cut is made. Okay. You want to try?
Yeah, I'll give it a try.
There, and then just apply a little bit of pressure upwards now.
Okay.
And you'll hear it kind of crackle. And you'll know you're doing it right. Yeah, there you go. And then hold with your left hand and then just do a little tap with your right.
Like here?
Yeah. There you go. Nice.
Look at that. Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's how you cut glass. Okay, so this is the pedestal that brings the blades down.
Right.
So they chop both at once. And this is the piece. It's already got a miter on one side from cutting. So it just slides through. And then on this side, you have the measurements. We can do like, let's do like an, will we have enough to do an 8x8? Let's do like a 6x6. Nice. Yeah, it's not too bad, right? And the double.
Didn't even go off telling me it's too loud.
Perfect.
So we're good.
Good. All right, and then the next thing that we do is we cut. Sorry. We have it cut. Now we're going to color the edges. It makes it just look a little bit cleaner when everything's together.
Oh, okay. Also, it's like not like a seam.
Yeah. Okay. And then the next thing will be joining them. Nice. Okay, so I'm going to do one to show you.
Yes, please.
Then you'll know how it works. So you just put two ends together. You slide them in. I use my thumb to kind of feel if it's lined up. And then there's a pedal on my right side there. And I just like half compress it. And you can hear that start up. And then a full press makes that go down.
So cool.
Yeah. And so when you do that, the longer you hold the pedal, the longer that plunger stays down. So you don't need to hold it down very long. Just until it does that full down, and then you can let go. So then same thing. Oops.
You can also come from over the shoulder if you want. I don't know what you.
I think this is good. Just logo place.
Perfect. Oh, there's no logos on here. Sorry, I meant like, do you know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
So half press
So half press, yeah. There you go. Yeah.
and then full.
And then a full to go down. Okay.
I'm so sorry.
No, this is all scraps,
That's exactly
so
what
it's
you
fine.
said not to do.
No, you're okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it.
It's
no,
all
it-
good. It was
it's fine.
probably, it's probably up here somewhere, but you're all good.
You can't see visually that it's broken, so it's fine.
You're good. These are scraps, so it's meant for fun.
Oh,
And then
okay,
this
awesome.
piece here, we just, let's see, which one did you do? Yeah. So you did the front one, so now it goes back and you do the same thing again.
And push.
Yep.
But a half compress.
A half compress, and then you can do a full.
Quick.
Nice. Look at you,
The pressure was on that time.
bro. It takes a minute to feel it out. Very good. And then you want to spin your frame now. Yes. Yeah, now we're good. And we always do two, and that way it's nice and structurally sound. But that's it.
Hello, everyone.
Welcome back. We just finished up at Art and Soul, and oh my gosh, that was so much fun. I felt like an artist.
So fun. Honestly,
I knew it was gonna be fun, but we had like just so much fun talking with her, learning about everything. She's an amazing teacher. Like, if I can do it, anyone can do it. She was so fun, so knowledgeable, and the one thing I really appreciated is she didn't make you feel dumb when teaching you something, which I think is a great skill for teachers to have, even though she's not a teacher, but yeah.
And it was so fun. I never, like, obviously I know what framing is. I know, like, you put it in a frame, but I thought it was as, not that I thought it was as simple as putting it in a frame, but, like, that's all I've ever done. And so the actual, like, process of, like, creating all of the stuff that we created was like so much fun, and using the little thingy that stuck the wood together to make the frame, I was like, wow, why am I a literal like engineer right now? Like,
Engineer, you are though.
thank you. And yeah, Lauren was so sweet and so kind and so passionate about the stories and the people that she works with, and I'm trying to think of the word, like I really love that, and I can see her passion and her kindness in everything that she shared with us. So it was really touching to see.
Yeah, I honestly I've been nodding along with this because I completely agree. Like, it's genuinely so amazing to see how much she loves it, and just to see like the way she was like lighting up about talking about like the fun project she's done, or the first framing like project she had done of her own drawing of her daughter. I just thought it was so sweet to see, and she genuinely was just so kind and nice, and I was so glad we were able to meet her and film this with her as well. So
yeah, check out Art and Soul Framing and Gallery.